Guys, what do you think a campaign is? Alexandria, you were saying something?
No, man. No, sir.
Okay. So essentially a campaign, as Jermaine was saying, is based on the term advocacy. And advocacy is essentially formed on 3 building blocks, as you will see here. Yes. So advocacy is built on 3 building blocks: support, action, and a specific cause. So essentially you're supporting a cause with your action. And the cause that you are supporting must be specific. There are 3 different types of advocacy. You have self-advocacy, individual advocacy, and systems advocacy. Self-advocacy is where you are advocating for something on your behalf. Similarly, an individual advocacy is where you are bringing light to an issue that is affecting you and maybe 1 or 2 persons. And systems advocacy is where you are bringing light to the issues within a particular social institution. Guys, 1 second, give me 1 second.
Hello? No one's talking.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah, so sorry about that. So as I was saying, there are different forms of advocacy. About all forms are equal, but each represent a different approach in which we would initiate changes within society. For example, if I was having an issue at the bank, in terms of advocating for the issue that I'm having in terms of poor customer service, I would go to the bank manager or the bank manager and speak to the bank manager about the issue. That would be my approach in terms of what I would say to the bank manager would be completely different if I was advocating for gender equality. That would be completely different. Gender equality would mean I would be speaking to, for example, speaking to a specific organization, not one person, and that campaign can be sometimes that form of advocacy sometimes can be a big initiative or it can be a small initiative, but it would be less personal and it's more about the collective. So you're not thinking about yourself only, but you're also thinking about the issues faced by the collective. For example, with the banking issue, I will be speaking about my experiences, whilst with the systems advocacy, where I'm advocating for gender equality, which is essentially all genders receiving the same treatment, same benefits, same treatment, I would be considering the issues faced by both male and female. So advocacy, as you can see, is built on a set of principles. So clarity, as a clarity of purpose, meaning if I am speaking about the banking issue, when I'm going to the bank manager, I need to state what I am complaining about and be specific. Also, in terms of being specific, I need to give factual information. So for example, if there is funds missing out of my account that cannot be accounted for, I need to state how much is missing from my account, when was the last time I checked my account, when was the last time I spent any money from my account. Similarly, if I was advocating for gender equality, I need to be more specific in terms of gender equality. Equality goal can be used in different areas, meaning I could speak gender equality in terms of salary, gender equality in terms of work benefits, which is separate from salary. For example, number of paid leaves, or number of vacation, number of holidays, number of days you get off, insurance policies, etc. So you have to be specific and oops, not recording. Oh, it's actually. You have to be clear about what you're campaigning or advocating about. Additionally, you need to empower the group or the minority group that you are speaking to. So while you are advocating for the issues that you're advocating or bringing light to the issues faced by this community, you cannot degrade the community while doing so. And this is where language plays a key role. So you can describe the issues being faced by the community without defacing or degrading the persons within the community. So that is where language comes into play, and also preparation, knowing what you're going to say. Additionally, you need to be confidential about some of the experiences that you are aware of, because it's not everything you will say publicly. For example, if you're having a campaign about gender equality, an experience where, for example, a woman was, sexually assaulted, the details of that, even the details around that circumstance, is sometimes not appropriate for a public forum. So that is where strategic thinking comes into play. You advocate the issue first, you get the attention of your audience, which I will speak to later. And once you have acquired your audience, you can, schedule a meeting, and therefore you can, dance around the issue, or, state what happened and some of the issues involved, issues surrounding your cause. And if it is appropriate, you can include the circumstance with the permission of the victim. So you have to consider clarity, empowering your community, and also being confidential when it comes to certain issues. So when it comes to being an advocate, there are certain skills that are required. So good communication skills in terms of speaking, writing, being analytical, researching the issue, understanding your audience, and also the community that you're advocating for in terms of the diversity of the issues being faced by the community. Also being creative. For example, in terms of, you see creativity when at its best when it comes to advocacy. So you see campaigns, you see documentaries. No, in terms of advocacy, you see campaigns, you see documentaries. Advocacy can come in the form of short films, even in protest. There are different ways in which persons can, you see creativity in protest in terms of sometimes what is written on their placards or on their signs, what they wear, how they approach their target audience in the protest, which can be peaceful or sometimes violent, which is not the answer most of the times. All the time, violence is not the answer. So you need to be creative and also be logical in terms of how you are approaching the issue. Because if you don't have a solution, it don't make any sense. So advocates, we'll see them in different fields ranging from political, legal, social care and inclusion. So political, as everybody can relate to this, whether you're from Trinidad, Jamaica, or the Eastern Caribbean. You will always see persons within their community, or for example, a particular community or parish who is not being represented by their political representative. You know, you see them on the news, complain, advocating, or bringing light to the issues being faced by their community and the lack of response from the government. Social care, we see it in terms of social justice when there's, like, for example, the innocent, like, you know, killing of a, you know, killing of a child. You see advocacy in terms of social justice. Somebody's saying something, Justin?
Can I say anything?
Okay, okay. You will also see it in terms of inclusion. Also, yeah, inclusion, and also in social care. I don't know in Jamaica, and the persons are on social media. Did you guys see the protest that happened that occurred on Independence Day in front of the US Embassy? Nobody watch news? Jermaine,
Yes, sir.
did you see the protest that occurred in front of the US Embassy on August 6th?
Oh no, sir, I didn't get to the protest.
Essentially, you had the Love Care March who was protesting about a particular
But August 6th is Jamaica's Independence Day.
Yes, that's what I said in terms of the protest that occurred on Independence Day. So essentially, if you read the Gleaner, or if you're on any social media network such as Twitter or even Instagram, you would realize there was a particular religious group or religious affiliated group that was complaining about a flag that was being raised, that was being flown at the US Embassy. So that comes under political and also social care. Anybody can identify
So which flag was flown at the US Embassy, sir?
the rainbow flag.
The what?
The rainbow flag, which is the flag that represents the LGBT community.
Which represents the what?
The rainbow flag, which represents the LGBTQ, something like that, community.
The LGBT what?
Okay, it's representing a particular community that is often discriminated against. But the persons did not agree with the flag being flown on Independence Day. They saw it as a form of disrespect to the country and our beliefs. Well, some of Jamaica, some of the, majority of the citizens believe.
Oh, so they wanted it to be flown on Independence Day?
No, they didn't. They didn't want it to be flown Independence Day. Yeah. So that was a form.
So where's the US Embassy located? Where was it located?
It's on Hope Road.
Oh.
Yeah.
So why didn't they want it to be flown on Independence Day? What's the problem with being flown on Independence Day?
Because the issue was that I don't think the Jamaican flag was being flown. That flag was put up instead. So that is where the problem lies. And also in terms of when you consider the views of the country regarding the community and our religious beliefs, there was it's kind of conflicting with they see it as conflicting with they see it conflicting for the embassy to be flying the flag. So that is one.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So that is just one issue. I mean, if you watch the news, and I know also in Trinidad, you will see issues where, for example, if there is anything where you have police brutality, any country at all, police brutality, you have some protests, which is a form of advocating. They're advocating for the human rights that they feel are violated by the police officer that are violated by the police officers. So their human rights being violated by police officers. And as I
If there was no police officers and there'd be more crime.
repeat,
If there was no police officers and there'd be more crime.
would there be more crime? I would think so.
Because they defunded the police.
Repeat, Justin.
Yes.
You were saying something about funding the police?
Oh, I see. Some country defunding the police.
Oh, yeah, you see that particular narrative in the United States, which is also yeah, which is also a form of, is another form of advocating for the human rights and human rights of African Americans and equal justice. So in terms of that medium, in terms of defunding the police, you see that in terms of protests, social media campaign by some political representatives and some organizations, as also you see the issue being advocated by some media personalities as well, and athletes as well. So different persons are advocating for the same issue, but they're using different mediums. So that I think that particular issue in terms of defunding the police, I think there's like at least 3 or 4 mediums being used for that campaign compared to regular campaigns such as in police brutality, or the issue that I explained to Drew Main that occurred on Independence Day in Jamaica, where one medium was used. So anybody, I can identify the advocates on the screen. Nobody knows the gentleman on the bottom left, bottom right, my right?
Malcolm X.
No. Come on, guys.
That's Nelson Mandela.
Thank you, Waldron. That is Mr. Nelson Mandela, former president of South Africa, and he was a prominent leader in the apartheid movement, which essentially comes under social care and social justice, where he was social justice and also political.
Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
South Africa president.
Yes, Alexandra, you're correct. So he was representing the South African citizens in terms of the racial and social injustice that they faced, and also the political dynamic that was involved in their injustice. So he's a prominent advocate for human rights. Additionally, anybody know the young lady who is now 16, but started her advocacy around age 11 or 12? I think age 12, 11. Okay, that's correct.
Greta Thunberg.
That is correct. Alexandre and Justin in the chat. Guys, if you don't want to, since some of you are a little bit hesitant with Justin, what did I do? That's not me? You direct that message to me?
Nah, but that was she said.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. So you have Greta Thunberg, who is now 16, a prominent advocate for climate change. She is Swedish, and we will now, I believe, we'll now meet Greta. Since I don't think everybody is familiar with her work. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Greta Thunberg. Please watch the video keenly and listen keenly.
you are too scared of being unpopular. But I don't care about being popular. I care about climate justice and a living planet. You are not mature enough to tell it like it is. Even that burden you leave to us children. Our civilization is being sacrificed for the opportunity of a very small number of people to continue making enormous amounts of money. Our biosphere is being sacrificed so that rich people in countries like mine can live in luxury. It is the sufferings of the many which pay for the luxuries of the few.
And she
You
rich.
say you love your children about
Hearing the audio?
this, and yet you're stealing their future in front of their very eyes. Until you start focusing on what needs to be done, rather than what is politically possible, there is no hope. The year 2078, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. If I have children, maybe they will spend that day with me. Maybe they will ask me about you. Maybe they will ask why you didn't do anything while there still was time to act. You only talk about moving forward with the same bad ideas that got us into this mess, even when the only sensible thing to do is pull the emergency brake. And if solutions within this system are so impossible to find, then maybe we should change the system itself. We have not come here to beg world leaders to care. You have ignored us in the past, and you will ignore us again. You have run out of excuses, and we are running out of time. But I've learned that you are never too small to make a difference. Then imagine what we could all do together if we really wanted to. But to do that, we have to speak clearly. No matter how uncomfortable that may be. We cannot solve a crisis without treating it as a crisis. We have come here to let you know that change is coming, whether you like it or not.
Today we make a change!
The real power belongs to the people.
So as you can see, Greta has really sparked some change and also controversy in terms of her work, in terms of the climate change movement. In 2018, she was named by Time Magazine one of the most influential, well, Time Magazine Person of the Year. So she is recognized globally for her work in terms of climate change. She has presented, I think, multiple times to government officials at UN Assembly meetings and climate change forums. I trust that based on the video, you realize that you're not too young to start and start a campaign and it being globally recognized. You have to be, as you can see, she started small in 2018 with every Friday. She'd skip school and she went outside of the Swedish parliament and protest. And it gradually grew until her friends recognized her actions and more persons of her age group and also government officials recognized her actions. Her work is, you would classify that as social care. So caring for the environment will come under social care in terms of advocacy and also systems. System is a form of systems advocacy because she's advocating against government officials as well as other businesses and corporations who are involved in environmental degradation.
You are too scared of being unpopular.
So, as you can see, her protest, her form of, okay, question, what forms of or mediums of advocacy did you see in the video? Anybody? So based on the video that you just watched, what forms of advocacy did you see? Or mediums of advocacy. So what mediums did Greta use to advocate her campaign, her issue with climate change? Alexandre? What medium, or anybody else, or anybody wants to help Alexandria, what medium did Greta use to present her work in terms of climate change or advocating for the environment? Justin?
I know.
As you can, guys, remember at the beginning of the video, she was protesting. So she was
Quiet.
Repeat?
She was crying.
Yes, and also she was protesting in front of the British Parliament, outside of the Swedish Parliament, sorry. And also she took her work to the UN officials in form of a speech. So as I said, advocacy can come in a wide array of formats. So a campaign is one such format. And as Bob Mueller says, that it's not about being righteous, it's about being righteous and smart. Greta met that sweet spot of being righteous and being smart in terms of leaving school and going in front of the Swedish Parliament to protest. Smart in terms of going to the exact location of her target audience, and righteous in terms of protecting and being a steward of the environment, and also getting her friends involved in the campaign, and also
making a lot of money.
Repeat, Justin?
She making a lot of money.
I don't know about money. I know that she's been globally recognized. I think the last thing.
Does she have a yacht?
Really? I know that she was.
Yes.
She's on a Vogue cover. That's the last thing I recognize, and she was receiving backlash in terms of what persons consider greenwashing in terms of you know, just getting using climate change as a way to be popular. So that's a term you can look up, greenwashing. I did not know that she owns a yacht. I know that she has received multiple backlash, a lot of backlash globally for her work, but I did not know that. But in terms of being smart, she is smart in terms of how she has really propelled the movement for the movement in terms of climate change protests in Europe. I mean, you have thousands of hundreds of teenagers and persons in their 20s, and also older persons too, because a lot of prominent journalists, even David, a lot of journalists, I think Sir David Attenborough from BBC, she met him as well. So she has been being really smart in terms of the mediums she chooses to use for her climate change work and her target audience. Because she has, if you realize, she has a primary and a secondary, which I will come to. Primary being government officials and secondary being persons of her age group. So when it comes to campaigns, you need to have two core things: campaign goals, and also an issue focus. So what will your advocacy focus on? You must have an issue and you must have a reason behind the cause. So Greta's work is, the reason behind her cause is environmental degradation and the rate at which the environment is being degraded, and thinking about how she will, she and the children that she desires to have, how they will survive 50 years from now. So you have to have a reason behind the cause, and also you need to integrate facts and science, but also facts, but more importantly, facts behind your campaign. It cannot be based on some theory that you have created with no logic behind it. It must be fact-based. And also you must consider your campaign goals. What do you want to achieve? So at the end of the day, you must think of what your end goal is. And the goal must be realistic, must be concrete in terms of, must be specific, and must be measurable.
I want to make a lot of money.
Measurable. Justin, you don't like her. Do you? I'm based on your comments, I'm thinking that you're not a fan of her work. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What is the problem you have with her work, Justin? This is a conversation. I'm not saying you're wrong. You know. I'm just saying, what's the, because having different perspectives is good. What's the problem you have with her work or her approach, probably?
Never mind. Never mind.
So you must be realistic. Some persons a part of the backlash she has received. Okay, so want to speak? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I also don't agree with everything. Or everything she goes by, because one, I think from seeing her, talks about politicians, she makes the politicians seem like they have to be gods. They have to be pitch perfect, and politicians are humans as well, and they're going to make mistakes. And I think that's a lot of people forget in both, in any aspect. They expect everything to be perfect, the doctor to be perfect, the prime minister to be perfect, president to be perfect. But at the end of the day, they're humans, and a country and a person and a movement that criticizes them for the mistakes that they make is kind of a crappy organization.
I agree. In terms of, I completely understand your point of view. In terms of sometimes, a lot of persons were saying she places a lot of emphasis on politicians and corporations, but at the end of the day, as Mahatma Gandhi says, that change begins with you. So what are the changes persons were saying? What are the changes she were making? Not saying she was wrong, but what are the changes she was making within her household? Justin, you were saying something? Your mic went on.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, you don't
But
have
she do have a yacht.
say. Oh, you stuck on the yacht thing. Anybody else have any comments? Waldron, Shanice, Cumberland.
Well, I think I have something to say. I found it very interesting with what George said. Yeah, it's like we're dehumanizing them. And if I think the approach in every sense of the word, like the approach that we take to inform people or to get a rise, some form of change, it is not appropriate for the result that you want in the end. So, and I think what a lot of people do, they complain about the government, complain about different officials, but they don't give solutions, which is what you really want. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shanice, and the similar thing Rajan was saying in terms of sometimes when we go to the extreme, advocating can go to along with any other thing. Sometimes we go to the extremes and we end up causing hurt and damage in terms of dehumanizing the persons or the audience we are trying to target. And that can also defeat our goal or limit our actual goal in terms of implementing change. So you have to be careful or beware of the language that you employ in your campaign. So that's one of the factors that you guys will have to consider when you're creating your campaign, which you will do later, which you will start to do this afternoon. All right, I want you to watch Apple's recent climate change video, just a minute long, so pay attention, please. I want you to tell me what is Apple's goal, what was the tactic or strategy they used, if they use any persuasive strategies, and also what is the issue they're advocating about, and whose point of view are they telling the video from? So please pay attention. The video is a minute and I think 30 seconds.
Hello, Eden. What a beautiful name. It means magic. You don't know us.
What's this?
You won't understand what we're about to say, but one day, Eden, you will. Because we want to make you a promise. We want to be held to it. And every year for years to come, we'll remain committed to it. A promise between you and us and the planet. We promise that everything we make, the way we make it, and even how you use it, will be carbon neutral by your 10th birthday. That might not sound like much to you, Eden, but believe us, it's not a promise that's easy to keep. But it's one we intend to. Promise.
So that is Apple's, a part of Apple's 2030 vision. And I know everybody is familiar with Apple and their products. Somebody was asking what the video was about. I wanted you guys to watch the video and tell me now, one, what was Apple's campaign goal and what was the issue that they were advocating about? Anybody?
Pollution.
Most definitely. What was their end goal?
Stopping pollution.
Most definitely. So protecting and saving the environment. Lastly, before you go on your break, what strategy or technique, persuasive strategy did you think they employed in their video?
They use a lot of plastic.
Repeat?
Apple use a lot of plastic to seal up the phones.
Okay, that is a point to know, but I'm talking in regards to the video. What emotional, what strategy or technique did they use to bring, to actually make the video emotionally appealing to the viewer? So make you stop and say, hey. And
sad music.
Okay, beautiful. So that is that is one. So the employment of the most melancholic music. Anybody else?
Baby.
Baby
on bed.
Correct. You are absolutely correct. Anything else?
I do talking to baby.
Most definitely. So you guys, thank you so much. You identify all of the persuasive strategies and techniques which we'll explore later that they employed within the video. All right, you guys will now go on your break and now return at 11 a.m. where you will now have an animation session. So you will learn about animation.
Thank you for teaching us, sir.
No problem. Please return for your animation session at 11. Guys, remember that you have your campaign to create, so you must employ think about what you can employ from the different sessions. So you learned about animation, you learned about web page design.
You'd be able to help me figure things out here.
Somebody say something? Alexandra, you're saying something?
Not you, sir.
Okay. So you had sessions on PowerPoint, Word, web page design, a little bit of programming, and now you have animation. So think about the different
animation.
You will have animation not today at 11 in the next 25 minutes or thereabout. Yeah, next 25 minutes. So please think about what you will employ, what strategies, what techniques you will employ within your campaign. So you can go for your break now and return at 11. Thank you for your participation and attentiveness. See you at 11.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Sir.
What time? Caribbean time.
Oh, okay. Shanice, I'm coming to you. Alexandre, 12 p.m. your time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so persons in Eastern Caribbean, 12 p.m. your time. Persons in Jamaica, 11 a.m. our time. Shanice, you were saying something?
Yes, so I joined the meeting late this morning. So I wanted to know if I missed anything of, great importance.
Meeting you came on when we had marine life and plastics?
No, I missed that as well.
Oh, you will get that recording.
But, for this class, I came on when you had the picture with Greta and the Nelson Mandela.
Oh, no, man, you didn't miss anything important regarding our camp, regarding you creating your, regarding the creation of the campaign. And the recordings will be up by today and tomorrow for all of the lectures for this week.
Okay. And also, the campaign, it will be an individual thing, or are we going to be in groups?
It is a collective project.
Okay.
Come on. You will learn more about it this afternoon.
Okay, sir, thank you.
No problem.